It is spring. We awaken to a lively chorus of songbirds drifting in through our open window. We rise with excitement, for today we're going on a bird walk, starting at first in yard and garden, and then exploring further about the neighborhood. Along the way, we will use our eyes as well as our ears as we discover the colorful musicians that make their homes around us. As we begin our bird walk, our attention goes to a cheerful, rollicking song. Perched high in an oak tree, a dark gray bird with a brick-red breast. An American robin. Cheerily, cheery up, cheerio, cheerily. The robin sings in wavering whistles before pausing and singing again. In a scrubby apple tree at the edge of the lawn, we discover the robin's cup-shaped nest of mud and grass. The male responds with a loud whinny-like call. And soon the female robin arrives and scolds us from a nearby branch. "Peek, peek, tut, tut," she cries in alarm. Leaving the robins behind, we are drawn to a loud whistled song, coming from the top of a tall maple tree. The singer is bright red and has a crest atop his head, a male northern cardinal. "Purdy, purdy, purdy, white, 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 white," he seems to say. We are surprised when the male flies to a different perch and begins singing a noticeably different song. The cardinal flies from the maple just as another bird arrives. We see a flash of bright orange and black as the newcomer hovers before landing. Then we hear clear, rich whistles, quite unlike those of the cardinal and robin. This songster is easy to identify. It is a male northern oriole, one of our most colorful neighborhood birds. Out of the corner of our eyes, we detect movement among some leaves. It is the female oriole, much paler in color than the male, and hanging next to her is the oriole's pendulous nest of woven grasses. The male flies down to the nest, and the two mates greet one another with excited chatter calls. Listen, a mournful owl-like cooing sound coming from somewhere nearby. I see the sound maker, perched on the telephone wire that stretches from the street to the house, a sleek pinkish gray bird with a long pointed tail. It is a mourning dove, and this is the male's mournful sounding song. Hoo-ah, hoo, 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 and another is calling in the distance. We move closer and startle the dove. Listen to the flutter of his wings and the sweet twittering whistles that he makes as he flies away. Continuing our walk, we approach a hickory tree at the edge of the house, and we hear new sounds coming from above. The sound makers are walking head first down the trunk. Two stocky little birds with stubby tails. They look so silly, like tiny wind-up toys. They are white-breasted nuthatches, searching for insects under the bark. Quite suddenly, one nuthatch flies to a high limb and gives a different call, a nasal yank, or yank, yank. Flying to yet another perch, the nuthatch delights us with a rapid series of pleasing notes. This is the nuthatch's song. The nuthatch flies away, and our attention goes to several very active little birds flitting about in a lilac bush next to the house. These are black-capped chickadees, and they make their presence known with name-saying calls. Chickadee-dee-dee-dee. We watch intently as one chickadee chases another from the bush, and then gives an outburst of high notes and garbled calls. The chickadee then flies upward to a branch in the hickory tree, and lays claim to his territory with clear, thin whistles. "Phoebe," sings the male chickadee. Moving toward the woodlot at the edge of the yard, we are drawn to a new whistled song, a loud Peter, Peter. The singer is perched in a cherry tree, a small gray bird with a crest, a tufted titmouse. To our surprise, the titmouse changes to a new song type. Another titmouse suddenly arrives, and the two begin making chickadee-like calls. "Sick-a-dray-dray-dray," they exclaim, and one throws in a song for good measure. Deep in the adjacent woodlot is a singer that at first we think is another titmouse. But the song seems more ringing and lively. Let's get closer. We find the musician in the brushy woodland understory, perched on a fallen log, a small reddish-brown bird with tail held erect. It is a Carolina wren. Listen to his loud, ringing phrases. Like certain other birds we've encountered today, the Carolina wren has more than one song, and we are not at all surprised when this individual switches to a different song type. We head back toward the yard. The male Carolina wren flies after us and gives loud descending cheer calls. Also from the underbrush, we hear the calls of chickadees. Returning to the yard, we pass by a small wooden birdhouse, the home of another common backyard wren, the house wren. Frightened by our approach, the female flies from her nest and gives rattling scold calls from a nearby branch. We back off and the female returns to her nest. A moment later, the male arrives, landing on a limb above the birdhouse. Without pause, he lowers his wings and tail, raises his head high, and pours forth a loud, bubbling song, shaking all over as he sings. The next bird to catch our attention is making loud nasal calls from a tree across the yard. As we approach, we see a bright blue-colored bird in a tall oak tree. It is a blue jay, and the jay is soon joined by several others, and they immediately begin making odd squeaking noises, all the while bobbing up and down on their perches. We can't help but chuckle as we watch their silly antics. Without warning, our neighbor's house cat emerges from the woods nearby. The jays shift to excited jay calls. One swoops at the cat, and the cat runs toward us, disappearing into the woods almost at our feet. At the very same instant, several large blackbirds fly across the yard in front of us and pursue the cat into the woodlot. They are American crows. They land in a tree directly over the cat and pester him with loud, raucous calls. The cat runs deeper into the woods with one crow chasing after. The other crows sit quietly for a moment, but begin vocalizing when two young crows fly in and beg for food with nasal versions of the adult calls. In a syringa shrub in the middle of the yard, we hear harsh cat-like mews. But this sound maker is not a cat. Our mystery is solved when a dark gray bird emerges at the side of the shrub. It is a gray catbird, named for its cat-like call. As we approach the shrub, the mate appears, and the two catbirds act alarmed, giving mew calls, as well as throaty quet notes, a sure sign that their nest is nearby. We walk away, and the catbirds relax. Then the male moves to the top of the shrub and begins singing. His song is a prolonged series of varied phrases, some musical and some squeaky or whining in quality. Listen how each phrase differs from the one that precedes it. Moving along, we spot another gray bird flying across the yard. It is paler than the catbird and has a long tail, and we see prominent white wing bars flashing as it flies. This is a northern mockingbird, and he lands in a tree and commences to sing. The mockingbird's song is a long series of loud and varied phrases, similar to the catbird's, but notice how the mocker repeats most phrases 3 or more times, and listen for imitations of other bird sounds, such as the jay calls of blue jays. The neighbor's house cat emerges again from the woodlot. The mocker responds with raspy choosh calls. The cat, seemingly afraid of being chased by the mockingbird, hurries across the lawn and disappears from sight. Our attention then goes to a loud squeaking sound coming from a large pine tree. On a low limb is a robin-sized blackbird with a long tail, a common grackle. We watch as he puffs out his feathers and sings his squeaky song. Another grackle lands next to the first, and the two exchange harsh check calls. One of the grackles flies to a nearby cedar tree where its nest is hidden in the dense foliage. This bird gives distinctive cha calls, along with squeaky songs. Venturing toward the sidewalk, we become aware of another squeaky song. The noisemaker is perched in a small locust tree, a blackbird with a dark brown head, a male brown-headed cowbird. Like the grackle, he bows forward, bends his wings, and puffs out his feathers as he sings, "Googla-see." The male cowbird makes a special whistle call just before flying to a different tree. He is joined on his new perch by the gray-colored female cowbird, who produces a liquid chatter. Sometimes, the female joins the male in a duet, overlapping her chatter call with the male's song. From an elm tree in the neighbor's yard, we hear a rapid drumming sound, followed by a loud series of calls. On a dead branch, we see a bird with a long pointed bill and a black crescent bib, a woodpecker, a northern flicker. The flicker produces its drum roll by rapidly pounding its beak on resonant dead wood. Both the drum roll and the call series are communication signals aimed at other flickers. The flicker flies down and joins another on the trunk of the elm. The two circle around one another, waving their bills from side to side, all the while making funny-sounding calls. Flicka, 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 flicka. As the flickers finish their encounter, our attention once again goes to loud drumming sounds, coming from a different dead limb in the elm. But this drummer is not a flicker. It is a small black and white woodpecker with a short bill. It is a downy woodpecker. His drums are surprisingly loud for such a small bird. Another downy lands on the limb. The drummer responds with excited pick calls, and the two wave their bills from side to side, reminding us of the two flickers. One downy flies, the other lingers for a moment, and then gives a whinny-like outburst of notes before it too flies away. Our bird walk has gone well. We've encountered 17 birds, and more await our discovery, but we need a short rest, so we head for the back porch where refreshment awaits us. To one side of the porch is a garden trellis covered with trumpet creeper vine laden with bright red tubular flowers. As we sit relaxing, we are startled by the arrival of a male ruby-throated hummingbird, his brilliant red throat patch glittering in the sunlight. Listen to his loud wing hum as he hovers and sips nectar from the flowers. The male flies. Seconds later, two more hummingbirds arrive and make squeaky chips as they move about from flower to flower. The two hummingbirds are females, and we are surprised when one flies at the other, making a distinctive chase call as she attempts to drive her adversary from the area. The hummingbirds leave, and it's momentarily quiet. Then we hear high-pitched lispy trills. Perched in a small crabapple tree is an elegant crested brownish bird with a yellow-tipped tail, a cedar waxwing. And we hear another trilling nearby. The second waxwing flies to the crabapple tree with a berry in its mouth. To our delight, it feeds the berry to its partner and emits several drawn-out whistles while the partner trills excitedly. Energized by our back porch birding experience, we continue our walk. A new song soon catches our ear, a burry phrase, repeated time and again. The sound maker is perched on a limb overhanging the garage, a small gray-brown bird, and look, he bobs his tail periodically as he sings. It is an eastern phoebe, named for his buzzy or sputtery song. Phoebe, he seems to say, and another answers in the distance. The phoebe's cup-like nest of mud and moss is under the eaves of the garage. We approach, and he chips at us in alarm, while a gray squirrel gives raspy calls in the background. Leaving the phoebe behind, we come across a small brown bird hopping about in the lawn grass in search of seeds. It flies to the top of a small pine and sings a rattling trill, all on one pitch. The singer is a sparrow, and its rich chestnut-colored cap identifies it as a chipping sparrow. The chipping sparrow is a common backyard bird, named for its chipping trill. The chipper swoops down to the lawn, where it joins its mate. They exchange a variety of courtship calls as they hop about in the grass. Listen. The chipping sparrows grow quiet, and our attention goes to loud, repeated peeps or cheeps, made by several brown sparrow-like birds flitting about in a honeysuckle bush. But these are not chipping sparrows. They are house sparrows, the birds that nest in the attic vent at one end of the house. We watch as a black-throated male cheeps excitedly from its perch. The male flies just as two other house sparrows emerge from the foliage. One chases the other back into the bush, all the while making a distinctive liquid chatter. Leaving the bush chatter behind, we scan with our ears for new sounds. And soon we hear an excited warbling song coming from a telephone pole next to the street. At the top of the pole is a small sparrow-like bird with a bright red throat and breast. It is a male house finch. He lifts our spirits with his joyful, exuberant song. The male flies to a locust tree on the other side of the street and courts a female house finch who is perched there on a small limb. He parades before her with bent wings and puffed feathers, singing even more excitedly than before and accentuating his songs with high, squeaky notes. The finches flutter into the air in nuptial passion. Their union assured, the female flies away. The male returns to the perch where he sits contentedly and utters a new call. Ch-choo-ee? We are so excited by the finch behavior that at first we do not hear the incredible sounds coming from the roof of our neighbor's house. Perched atop the chimney is a black iridescent bird with a yellow bill, a European starling. He ruffles his throat feathers as he sings. His song is remarkable, a long-continued sequence of ever-changing phrases with pops, clicks, and sputters thrown in. Like the mockingbird, the starling imitates the sounds made by other birds. In this composition, we hear the flick-the-flicka of a flicker, and later, the whinny call of a robin. The time has come to end our walk. As we head back to the house, a robin serenades us from the woodlot. Our bird walk has been productive. We have enjoyed the sights and sounds of 24 species. What was once a jumbled and confusing mixture of bird sounds is now the distinctive voices of dozens of newfound friends, colorful songsters who share our surroundings and fill our hearts with joy. Refreshed and excited by our discoveries, we look forward to a new dawn, when once again we shall awaken to the magical songs of the birds.